Bizarre Brain Comics. Oh, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the... I forgot my line. Talk a little bit about the characters and creators and examine the stories and the art. It's funny. It's just my brain just seized up right in the middle of speaking. This time, I'm going to talk a little bit about X-Men 92. I've covered some of them before, regular X-Men and the X-Men 92 stuff, because they had a good deal published back then. Primarily, I wanted to take a little look at this book. This book, it's not an actual comic book, but it is in a way. This is, as you can see here, it's X-Men, and the title of the story is To Stop a Juggernaut. And as you can see here, based on the blockbuster TV series. This is from 1993. It is published by Random House. And it is based on the very popular animated X-Men TV series, animated TV series from that time. And a lot of people are still fans of that particular run. And this story is based on a teleplay by Julianne Clem. See, and also wanted to show afterwards is X-Men Adventures, which I have done another one on X-Men Adventures before, the comics adaptation of it. And of course, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this particular book here is I got it at the flea market not too long ago. I don't know how many they did of this particular series. This is the only one that I've got, and it is drawn by Gray Morrow. Some great artwork from him, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to talk about it, is because of Gray Morrow's art. I don't think I've ever seen him do any other X-Men stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about Gray Morrow. Now, of course, X-Men, the animated series, is of course the animated superhero TV series debuting in '92 on Fox Kids Network, and it's Marvel's second attempt at an animated X-Men series. It ran for 5 seasons. A sequel or continuation series is in production to air on Disney Plus in 2024. And the illustrator Gray Morrow is born Dwight Grayton Morrow, or Gray Morrow, was a comic book artist, magazine and book cover illustrator, co-creator of Marvel's Man-Thing and DC's El Diablo Western character. It was from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's served as an editor on his high school newspaper, which provided comics and cartoons for it. And he went to the Chicago Academy of Fine Arts. He moved to New York City, where he met artists Al Williamson and Wally Wood. He got into comics. He did an early adaptation in the 50s of Robert E. Howard's Tower of the Elephant, which is a Conan the Barbarian story. He eventually worked at Atlas, and he did there in the 50s. He did some work at EC Comics, and he was in the early 70s, he did a lot of book cover illustrations, science fiction book cover, primarily known for the covers on the series of Perry Rhodan science fiction novels. And he did a lot of stuff. He did the Buck Rogers comic strip for quite a while, in the late 70s or early 80s, when the strip came back with the popularity of the Buck Rogers TV series. And all kinds of other goodies, a lot of horror stuff, because he's not as well known for superheroes as he is adventure and horror genre. Did a lot of westerns, but in the there were several issues of from Archie, Chilling Adventures in Sorcery, and they brought that back, and for a few issues, and he was the primary artist and writer for did a lot of the writing for that series of anthology stories, which I have covered here before. Now, with the Gray Morrow, this is actually not the best story to have done here, but you can see his artwork. This is the story, X-Men Returning. This is right from one of the episodes, and one of the interesting things about this book is, there, of course, it's a kid's book, and the story and the dialogue and everything is made more simply for young readers, and it has spots where things are, lines and words are underlined here, and then in the back is a glossary in which they define what those words mean. It helps improve kids' vocabulary. And X-Men Return, they find the X-Mansion damaged. Can't get hold of find Professor X. He left him a recorded message. Yeah, one of the things, it's just a lovely work. It's not as rough and tumble or dynamic as some of the other artists, but his work is just beautiful, well defined artwork. But he used very fine lines. Looks like he used a pen instead of brushes and the like. So Wolverine goes off to try to find the professor using his super senses. Meanwhile, they send Jubilee and Storm after Wolverine, and there they come to a construction site with this big steel guy. It's whom we know as Colossus, helping with a demolition, and they attack him because they assume Wolverine and Jubilee kind of go after him. They assume he was the one who destroyed the X-Mansion, because who else could have done it? Meanwhile, there was a bank break-in and someone who big and powerful, and right there, and they think Colossus did it, and then they break Colossus out of prison, out of the jail, and Beast is still in jail from an earlier episode, earlier storyline, and it's his desire to remain there in jail. Meanwhile, boom, boom, they run across the real culprit, who is the Juggernaut. And Colossus and Juggernaut go head to head. But this is when the X-Men have to work together. And they work together to overpower and defeat the Juggernaut. And that's it for that. But then we've got the tie-in comic book, which was also based on the scripts of the from the TV series. That's the X-Men Adventures. And I liked, actually, at the time, I liked the X-Men Adventures. This particular book is a reprint, also from '93, reprinting issues 5 through 8 of the X-Men Adventures comic book. This is a terrible, terrible cover design. I have to tell you that. This is X-Men Adventures Volume 2, issues 5 through 8, written by Ralph Macchio, pencils by Andrew Waldman and Chris Batista, with inks by Robert Campanella, Andrew Pepoy, and Mark McKenna. And they look more like the stuff from the animated series and from the regular comics. One of the reasons I liked this better than the regular X-Men comic at the time was simply because they actually had to tell the story. And it was based on the scripts, and they had to actually tell a story within the confines of 1 or 2 issues, instead of going issue after issue after issue in which nothing happens. And yet somehow it was an incredibly popular comic book at the time, and I really enjoyed these. So that is all I wanted to cover this time around with X-Men, and from X-Men '92, the X-Men Adventures and X-Men Children's Book. And thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, and do leave a comment. I always enjoy reading comments regardless. And remember, people, comics are art.